Last week at Davos, leaders discussed this emerging technology called physical AI, and it's set to change the way that we age at home. So, if you're over 50 and you're wondering where is technology going, how is it going to impact your life, then lean into this show because I'll be sharing some insights from Davos. Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels, and I'm your tech translator. So we already have a greater level of awareness around artificial intelligence. It's been within the zeitgeist for the last 2 to 3 years. And we can go on to ChatGPT to find out information. We have a sense of what chatbots are. If we want to be creative and design things, we could use Gemini's Google, which has Nano Banana. And if we want to do deep dive research, we can turn to a large language model like Perplexity. However, there is this physical AI, and what this means is that the artificial intelligence is embedded within physical devices as well as robots. And so there are robots now that can fold the laundry, they can load the dishwasher. They can remind you to take your medication as well as being in conversation with you. So earlier this month, there is a conference called CES, yes, CES 2026, and it was held earlier this month. And it's a global tech trade show in a sense. So you have the likes of LG and Samsung, and they were demonstrating these types of robots, which they hope to roll out later in 2026 into people's homes. But this physical AI doesn't exist independently. It's actually connected to another tranche of technology called the Internet of Things, otherwise known as IoT. And IoT really is a way to fuse the online world with the offline world. And the way that happens is through sensors. And so sensors are embedded in the physical space, physical environment, into physical things. And as you continue to interact with it, it's taken the data from it. And then the physical AI then takes that data, it learns about the data, it monitors what's actually going on, it learns all the sequencing and the patterns, and then it makes intelligent choices as to what can happen next. So let's take the idea or the concept of the smart floor. So, smart flooring is throughout your home. It picks up your patterns and the way that you walk. If there are any changes that are on the horizon, the data is collected because it has a sense of the pattern. You've been walking on it, so any shifts, let's say that you are developing a limp or there's a sense that you're shuffling, the data will pick that up. It will be fed into the physical AI, and then you could be notified that there's something that potentially is emerging, and it could notify your doctors. And so having these two forms of intelligence. So you've got the IoT, the Internet of Things, through the sensors. And now I want you to think about physical AI like the brain that's been attached. So the two work in tandem. So that's why it's really important that all of us, as we continue to age, we become familiar with what's actually happening. How can we begin to utilize this as we continue to age? And why does this matter? Because at least 90% of us want to age at home. We still want independence. We still want safety. We don't want to be reliant necessarily on family. We may not want to go into assisted living facilities. And so the pairing of physical AI and the Internet of Things helps us. They deliver the outcome that we want. Other ways that this technology can help us is with health monitoring, for example. So if you're wearing a smart watch, it's reading the data and the shifts and the changes that are taking place within your body. And let's say, for example, you're developing a bit of an irregular heartbeat pattern. The sensors within the smartwatch will be able to pick that up. There's also robots that help to reduce loneliness. Now, loneliness doesn't only touch older people, it's an intergenerational epidemic that's taking place whereby, we've lived through COVID. So we all experienced it, and then it's showing itself in so many different ways. And so there are robots, conversational robots, and a well-known one is called LIQ or LEQ or LEQ. The choice is yours. And here, if you can afford it, then you will be able to have a companion within your home. Now, the barriers, there certainly are barriers, and cost is one of them because, it's very expensive. However, there is discussion around could there be rental models, subscription models, whereby you could be utilizing licensing these types of technology. And there's a huge focus on this area, particularly elder care, because it's been predicted or projected that by 2035, so over the next 9 years, this industry could grow to $10 billion. So it's a huge industry. Insurance companies are also giving this type of technology deep consideration because it could be a lot cheaper than actually funding someone to live in an assisted living facility. You might be thinking, okay, but I'm quite nervous about this. I really don't want to be learning any new technology. I've lived 5, 6, 7 decades. I don't really need to be bothering with any of this. So if you still are living within Luddite tendencies, as much as I'm a technologist, I really do celebrate the fact that I have my Luddite tendencies. But if you're resistant to the changes that are coming in, you don't have to be using apps because actually this type of technology is built for you. All you need to do is use your voice. So it's voice activated. So that will help to reduce any fears and anxieties that you may have. So what you want to be doing is thinking about, let me start learning now, because if you delay learning about new technologies, because technology isn't just about where we are now. Technology is 5 years' time and 10 years' time. And if you're in your late 50s or 60s, that takes you into your late 60s, into your 70s and beyond. And then you might have a health crisis. You might be highly stressed, you're overwhelmed. And then if you're now trying to learn about technologies that could facilitate ease within your world, it could be too overwhelming. And so that's why one of the reasons I've set up this channel, Tech Savvy Encore Academy, is to bring insights, information that helps you make intelligent choices about the technology that is here, the emerging technology, and the ones that will be shaping our lives in a decade or so. So where can you start? Yeah. Where do you actually start? What sort of action steps can you take that can kickstart you into this phase of opening up your world to technology? Well, I would say the first step is to try voice technology, and you're probably already using it when you use Siri. So think about, maybe you're going to get an Amazon Echo or a Google Home, and you're going to use your voice just in terms of practicing. How do you set up a timer? Practicing it to tell you what the weather is, for it to tell you what music to play. Now, this will help you get comfortable with the technology. Yeah, so it's a really easy way in. Then I want you to think about your current home. Have you noticed anything that is now slightly harder for you to do in your home? As you notice these shifts, these changes, begin to note them, because they will act as your roadmap towards the type of technology, the smart technology, the physical AI that you may want to have in your home. And then, yes, continue to build your digital literacy. That's the primary reason why I'm here on YouTube with Tech Savvy Encore Academy. And I'm also building up my school where we'll be able to dive into this in a far more deeper way, but in a more relaxed way as well. And then don't forget to have conversations with your adult children around, what you're learning as you're aging and what things that you may want to put in place. So I'm going to leave it there for now. If you got any value from this, then please subscribe to my channel and share this with people in your network, and particularly older people who have heard about the shifts in technology and want to learn more about it in this easy conversational style. Then tell them to subscribe. Invite them to subscribe to Tech Savvy Encore Academy, and I will see you again on the next show. Take care. Bye.